Last day of April, bringing you a sneak peek of our first live. We've been practicing just to get the logistics down and stuff, and had like a really good conversation, Mitch and I, yesterday during our practice session that I'm going to share some with you. Yeah, it's about Nick. It's about his interrogation and some things that Mitch said I had not even considered. So I'm going to play a little sneak peek of that in a minute so you guys can just get the flavor of what our live will be like. But got some housekeeping I have to do first, and then I'm going to tell you what I saw on that Gypsy Rose episode about her dad. That was really astonishing to me. Okay. For those of you that were so supportive to become a member of our channel, part of it for certain members is a Discord. We have the Discord set up. It's supposed to connect to our YouTube channel. For whatever reason, and we've tried everything, we can't get it to connect appropriately with the Becca Scoops channel. And why I have to do housekeeping with this with you guys is a couple of things. We really want you guys to go to the Discord, because we'd love for you guys to leave questions in the Discord of stuff that you want us to answer on the live. Okay? And this is for the members. If you're not a member, you can join the chat during the live, and hopefully we'll get to as many questions as we can. But partly because we're trying to interact more with our members and with our channel subs also, we thought it would be great if some of the members could leave questions they want answered about the case. Stuff that's just bothered them. Some of the stuff I kind of know. We're going to go over with Mitch. Some stuff about when the police first arrived at the scene, how David Blanchard, according to police reports, went through the window. And we're going to get Mitch's take on that, because he, as a detective, and before he was a detective, he was just a regular, police officer on the beat. He went to numerous check the welfare calls. And it's going to be interesting to get his take on that. What did they do right? What did they do wrong? And is there anything suspicious? Then we're going to talk about the interrogation, Nick's interrogation. Okay? We're going to talk especially about what Mitch thinks about that whole interrogation, and then specifically about the when Nick talks about the actual murder, and how Nick confesses to that, because as you guys know, a lot of people who have watched the interrogation feel that there's an issue with only 4 jabs, right? Nick confessed to only stabbing her 4 times. It appears like that is what a lot of people believe. And we're going to take a look at that with Mitch. And Mitch, as a detective, is going to give us his professional take on that whole thing. And that's going to be quite enlightening, because that's some of the conversation we had yesterday in our practice session. I'm going to put the sneak peek in right here. So check this out. This is Mitch and I yesterday talking about Nick's interrogation.
And did she holler for Gypsy once, twice, 5 times?
3 times.
3 times? And what was she saying? Can you tell me how she said it?
She pretty much yelped it.
Yelped it?
This was like,
Gypsy! Okay.
yeah, she was loud.
And what did you do when she did that?
I'm going to pause it there. Do you find that to be truthful?
What he said?
Yeah.
In his mind, I'm sure that's how he recounts the scenario.
I'm looking for, do you believe that Dee Dee was alive?
Oh, yes. Yeah, of course.
You don't believe he's making this up out of whole cloth that she was dead?
No. And if you go back to when he described stabbing her, or the wound across the back of the neck,
Yeah.
I think if she was already deceased, one, he wouldn't have seen the blood, oozing out of the wound after he caused that injury, which he specifically says that, yeah, she was bleeding,
Right.
which is consistent with someone being alive. If
Right.
you get if she had been dead previously, I've heard the, conspiracy stories about her being killed in a different location,
Right.
put in a refrigerator,
Right.
brought to the bed after she's been deceased. One, there's not going to be that, he's recounting, the scenario that he, was involved in, specifically saying that, yeah, I stabbed her in the back of the neck. I don't know if he said stabbed or sliced or what.
Right. But you're not finding him to be deceptive right now.
No,
Based on your
and quite
professional
honest,
experience. Yeah.
obviously he is going as far as saying, yes, I did it. So he is at that point trying to be truthful. There's a difference from what I can tell, his personality versus, say, Gypsy's, where she flat out says, yeah, I lie all the time.
Right.
She admits that she's, a liar or a habitual liar. Whereas
Right.
I think what comes out of his mouth for the most part, whether he recounts exactly how many times he stabbed her,
Right.
that's up to debate as far as his recollection is,
Right.
just like anybody that might be involved.
Back to, if you became a member and if you want to leave us questions on the Discord, I'm going to have to ask you a huge, huge, huge favor until we resolve this issue with connecting our YouTube account to our Discord server. Please, if you'd like to ask us questions and you're a member, email me at beccascoops@gmail.com, beccascoops@gmail.com, and put in member question in the reference. So I know when I open my email, I'll know immediately it's from a member. It's a member question. I will write you back. You don't have to ask the question there. I want you to ask it in the Discord. It'll be easier for Mitch to see it there, okay? So after you email me, I'm going to email you back the link to the Discord. Does that make sense? I'm going to email you back the link to the Discord. Okay? So go ahead and do that. beccascoops@gmail.com. Member question. Okay? And I'll get back to you today. Okay. Rod Blanchard did not like that book. Not only did Rod Blanchard not like Gypsy's My Time to Tanned book, he was embarrassed by it. Big time. I just watched the clip. I was watching the episode and I had to go replay it over and over again, where she's like signing those whatever things to go into the autographs or whatever. Yeah, I'm sure that's sold out. And then it goes to Rod and he's talking about the book and he says this: there's really no way to sugarcoat that. And he's looking down and he almost turns red. And then he even looks down further. He cannot look up at the camera. He cannot look up at the Lifetime producers who are asking him the question. He said, but I'm extremely proud of her for that. I can't sugarcoat that. Now, you think he's talking about her story, the book. But in reality, when you watch it, he's talking about her. He's talking about how embarrassed he is by that book and that he can't sugarcoat it. He cannot sugarcoat that this is the book she produced. And it's quite terrible. I've read it. It's horrible. It's embarrassing. It's so embarrassing, that book. It's so flagrantly sexualized and obviously is written by somebody who has deep-seated issues with their sexuality and with sexual things in general. Whether that comes from the micro deletion or if it just comes from it's her kink and she's just weird like that, I don't know. But I do know she's hypersexual. I do know she's inappropriate sexually. And I do know that she doesn't even realize she's inappropriate sexually. Do you understand what I'm saying? A lot of people that have certain issues with, their sexuality, kinks or whatever, fetishes or whatever, they're fine, so I'm not, no judgment, okay? But there's certain weird quirks that aren't really accepted by even people in fetish communities and that's what I'm talking about with her, that she doesn't understand that some of her weirdness in that area is not a fetish. It goes to more talking about her psychologically. And I hate to focus on that, but the only reason I'm focusing on that is because I was really, no, I don't like Rod. Like, as a person, I think he's probably an okay person, but I know that he is a beta male who's ruled by Christy, who did whatever Christy wanted him to do, and he really dropped the ball with Gypsy. He wasn't in her life when he could have been. And I don't want to hear this whole thing that Dee Dee kept him constantly away. Even if Dee Dee hated Rod, which it seems like probably she did, and probably had good reason in some ways, although that's a whole other discussion because of his age and her age. As he got older and matured, he should have been in her life. And we know that Dee Dee had to take him to court several times because they had issues with paying child support, that he was behind on it. He wasn't, and that's one thing. But the other thing was, what doesn't take money is being involved in her life. And, he likes to make the excuse that Dee Dee didn't allow it. Well, what are you talking about? You go to court and you get custody. You get days where you can visit with your child. Some of the most contentious court proceedings in America have to do with custody, correct? And he never felt the need to take Dee Dee to court to get any type of visitation with Gypsy. He just didn't care. He's just not that kind of a guy. And there's no excuse when he got older. I'll excuse him when he's 17 and 18, and that's when Gypsy was born, okay? And they didn't work out. And obviously he didn't want to be with Dee Dee, okay? I'm going to excuse him for his age. But when you're 27, 28 years old, I'm sorry, you're now a mature adult, and you had no reason not to be in that little girl's life at that point. And did that affect Gypsy? Oh, well, yeah. We all know, most of us who have studied the case, that she has huge daddy issues. That she sent some type of, and we don't know exactly what it was, but we know from the text messages between Dee Dee and Christy that Gypsy sent some inappropriate photos at one point, and they were most likely those photos that we've seen from her Facebook of, baby got back in the pink bikini and stuff like that, right? And she inadvertently supposedly sent them not only to Rod, but I think Christy got them, and possibly Mia and Dylan. Those were Rod's other children. Saw them. And Dee Dee, and I believe it was Dee Dee. I don't believe it was Gypsy. And I know there's a whole thing about, you know, who's writing, because Gypsy writes in caps and Dee Dee writes in caps, and they both misspell. All right. I know, because when you look at lists that Dee Dee made about Gypsy's illnesses, she's not spelling correctly. All right. So this isn't just, and I'm not saying that Dee Dee was a stupid woman. Some people have issues with spelling, and it seems like both of them do. So, and they both seem to use caps. Look at what Gypsy did when, after her mom's demise, the bitch is dead, all in caps. So there's, and that's just one example, but there's a lot of examples of that. So I don't want to get too deep into that right now, but yeah. So any questions you have, if you're not a member, and please, I've said this before, we opened up channel membership because we wanted to interact more with you guys. But if you can't afford it, please, no worries, because our live is going to be open to everyone. The chat's going to be open, and you can ask questions there. At the end, we're going to take questions, but Mitch said that he really wanted to know if some people could leave messages in the Discord. And, you know, and he knew this. I said, yeah, but remember, we're having problems with connecting the Discord. And so we came up with this solution to just email us at beccascoops@gmail.com if you're a member. And I will email you back with the Discord link at this point until we can get it fixed. And I apologize for that. I totally apologize for that. I'm so sorry. You know, we've been working hard to try to didn't foresee that, not being able to connect with our YouTube account, but yeah, that's what happened. So coming up Friday, May 2nd, this coming Friday at 3 p.m. That's our time. That's California time, Pacific Standard Time, which is going to be 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and I believe 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. We are going to be going live for the first time. And the first part of it, we're going to be going over parts of what I just said earlier about some things with Nick, but we wanted to add one more topic in there of importance that you guys are, you know, burning questions that you have, so we can be prepared to answer those too. So that's why, thus, we would like you to, you know, leave some questions in the Discord if you're a member. And if you're not, then just join the chat and we'll try to get to as many questions as we can at the end. Okay? That's about it, guys. That's about it for me for today. So we're working on that, you know, going over different things that would be of interest. And I think Maisie is ready to go. I don't know if you guys heard, but I saw an adolescent mountain lion out here yesterday. So yeah, that was on the other side, not on this side. Ready to go, Maisie? Ready to go home? Should we go home? All right, Maisie's ready to go. And thank you guys so much for watching. And if you can't join us on the live on Friday, we know people have lives, then you can catch it on the replay. We'll have it up on our channel right away for you guys to watch if you're working or whatever. Okay? All right, guys. This is Becca Scoops. Love you. Bye-bye.